Hey Zoe, can I come in?
Of course!
So what are you up to today?
I was actually just filming some videos for National Diabetes Awareness Month.
Cool, when's that?
It's the month of November.
And what are you doing for it?
Well, I was helping JDR film some videos to raise awareness, but also bust some type 1 diabetes myths.
How long have you had diabetes?
I was diagnosed with type 1 over 15 years ago, at only the age of 6.
What were your symptoms when you were first diagnosed?
I had really classic symptoms. I was really thirsty all the time. I was going to the washroom so constantly. I did lose a ton of weight, and I definitely had mood swings.
Oh, so is type 1 diabetes contagious?
No, not at all. Type 1 diabetes is actually an autoimmune disease, which means that my immune system just attacked itself. So you could get it through genetics, environmental factors, or even a viral onset.
So you didn't get it from eating too much sugar?
No. That is a myth.
So you can still eat sugar?
Of course. I just have to manage for it properly.
What does that mean?
Well, before any meal, I have to test my blood glucose. I then have to carb count and give insulin respectively.
So how do you test your blood glucose?
Well, I prick my finger so a little blood comes out. I put it on a test strip, which is connected to my meter, and voila, a number appears.
But how do you give insulin?
Well, I actually can use insulin through an insulin pump or syringes or pens. I currently use the insulin pump.
If there's one thing you wanted to tell everyone about type 1 diabetes, what would you say?
That type 1 is so different than type 2 diabetes. They might sound the same, but they're not. Different onsets, different therapies.
So can you get type 1 diabetes as a kid?
For sure you can get it as a kid, but you can also get it as an adult. It's not just a kid's disease. In fact, over 25% of diagnosis actually happens as adults.
Do you have any type 1 diabetes idols?
Of course. I always thought Nick Jonas was super cool for having diabetes. Before I used to give my insulin injections, I thought, hey, if Nick can do this while on tour and while recording songs, I can definitely do this. And then this past summer, I actually met Zoeie, which is an NHL superstar, and I think it's so cool how he shows everyone that, you know what, I can still manage my type 1 diabetes while having a physically demanding job.
So wait, does that mean you can play sports with type 1 diabetes?
Of course, again, you can play sports and exercise. You just have to manage properly.
Why are you grabbing some juice?
I was actually feeling my blood glucose level getting a bit low, and juice helps rise that really quickly.
And what do you feel when you're low?
I get really shaky and sometimes I get confused.
And does the juice help it?
Of course, juice is a fast-acting glucose. It has lots of sugar, so it rises up my blood glucose really quick.
Okay, so what do you do when you have a high sugar?
That's when I give insulin.
How many times a day do you need to test your blood glucose?
That depends. I usually do between 6 to 8 times a day, but it all depends really. Whenever I eat, I test. If my sugar's feeling low or higher, I test. If I'm sick or anything like that, yeah.
Do you exercise to lower or raise your sugars?
Yeah, exercise can actually lower it.
What else can cause your blood glucose to go down?
That is a hard question. Everything basically, things like exercise, the food I eat, what time I eat, my sleeping schedule, the weather, stress is a big one, basically everything.
Wow, you have to manage all that?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have better management the longer you have diabetes?
You think, but not necessarily. There's this thing called diabetes burnout, which is basically when you just get bored and tired of all this management. That has definitely happened to me.
How many people live with type 1 diabetes?
Just in Canada alone, there's actually over 300,000 Canadians.
Where are you going?
I was thinking about taking a walk.
Wow, that's a pretty big bag for going for a walk.
I know, it holds all of my diabetes stuff. I have to bring a juice, my glucagon, my water, my tester kit, my insulin, an injection site, my glucose tablets. It gets a lot.
Is a cure close?
Most definitely. With everyone's support and dedication, I believe that the cure is coming sooner rather than later. And together, we're all making type 1 into type now.